Good evening, everyone. My name is Regina Mulholbeer. I'm a student at FSCJ. This class is Speech 2068. My professor is Karen Otto, and this is about a person of interest. The person I chose is Helen Keller, educator, activist, journalist. She was born in 1880. She died in 1968 at the age of 88. Is having a disability really being disabled? That is the topic I chose. I have chosen 3 points for that. My first point is how to handle the cards we are dealt. As parents, we all want our children to be healthy, grow up healthy, and have a healthy life. Helen Keller was born healthy. At the age of 19 months, she was struck by a high fever and became both deaf and blind. Now you ask yourself, why? Why my child? Why born healthy and then later we're struck with a disaster? How do we handle it? We must then decide how to deal with the cards we are dealt. Do we put them down, give up, or do we fight? Well, her father chose to fight. And this brings me to my second point of overcoming adversity. At the age of 6, Helen started throwing tantrums because she was not able to communicate with anyone. She had trouble getting someone to understand her because, of course, being deaf and blind. Her father decided that this was not the way for her to live, so he went to Baltimore and he sought out Dr. Alexander Bell. He advised him to write the Perkins Institution in Boston, which was a school for the blind. 3 months after writing that letter, he received a knock at his door. Anne Sullivan was appointed to be the teacher for Helen. She started teaching Helen how to read Braille, and within 6 months, Helen made a tremendous progress in reading Braille. But watching her father deal with adversity, she decided that she was not satisfied. She learned about a 16-year-old young girl in Norway who was also blind and deaf. And that 16-year-old was able not just to read and write like she had learned, but to speak as well. So she became determined to overcome her challenges, and she went ahead and she taught herself through Anne Sullivan not just to read and write, but to speak as well.
Right.
She even went on to graduate in 1904. She continued to receive awards and recognition. She became one of the founders for the American Civil Liberties Union, who was responsible for fighting in court for legislatures and communities to defend the individual rights. My third point is not accepting disability as being disabled. As we see in our society today, we have many people sitting home waiting for a check from government. They love the fact that they're disabled because they don't have to work. She refused to accept that. So she decided that she was going to come her over adversities, and she became successful. She became an author, and she wrote her book, The Story of My Life, and she dedicated that to Dr. Alexander Bell. That book, I don't know how many of you have heard about the movie, The Miracle Worker. That was her story. So Helen continued to gain success with her books and movies. She proved that having a disability does not require to be disabled. I explained to you the difference of disability and being disabled. A disability is what someone has as a restriction, whereas being disabled is putting you out of action. Helen had a disability, being blind and deaf, but in no way did she make herself disabled. She went on to accomplish more than people like us who have both our sight and hearing. I chose this subject because I feel It relates to all ages, especially that it happened to her at 19 months. I am going to conclude by leaving you a thought for today. We are all faced with obstacles in our lives, as I know so well. We must ask ourselves what we want to do with them. Feel sorry for ourselves or fight to overcome them. We all have a Helen in us. It is up to us to find her. Thank you.